So yeah, as it turns out, Viper walls on Icebox are pretty busted for applying pressure, denying information, a ton of things. So if you watch my previous video, which should come up on a title card right now, I talked about how, I think it was Evil Geniuses uses this wall lineup where they would line up in the middle of this black box and they would aim at that white dot. They would line it up with their UI like this, right? And this wall is really cool because what it does is it allows you and your team to sneak up into this position and allows you to sneak up B main. So if anybody's holding B main, like so, like if they're jump spotting or something, they now have to worry about somebody walking up their left side, right? So this wall is really good for applying pressure because you can put it up at any time and the enemy team has to worry about you, right? That video was seen by a lot of you guys and you guys really liked it. So it turns out there's another Viper wall the teams are using and I'm going to show you what that one looks like. I saw it first used by KRU. I don't know if another team used it before them, but this is where, I saw it first. So to line this wall up, what you're going to want to do is you see these big green arrows pointing at Viper's like dot in the middle, right? You're going to want to line the bottom arrow up with the middle of this circle here. You know what I'm saying? So you line it up like this. And now when you put the wall up, this wall does the same thing that this wall did before, but instead what you have is more space, right? Now, you can get all the way up to here, you can get all the way up to here and clear this, and then you can start your exec or Sova drone from all the way up green, and then anybody playing up over here is obviously really worried about this wall because you could be right up next to them before they know it. Now, there are pros and cons to each wall that I'm going to list here. So this new wall, what it allows you to do is you, one, have more space under tube and whatnot. Two, it allows you to hold flank better, right? So you could sit back here, and if your teammate is execing, you can hold that. You can hold flank like this or like this, however you want to hold it, without like while the wall's still being up, right? So if your team needs the wall up, it doesn't block off your vision, right? But its cons are that you have to be in garage in order to do this, versus the other one you could just line it up right at the start of the buy phase, right? It doesn't cover nest. Now, as long as your team knows it doesn't cover nest and they expect someone to be here, this is okay. Because you see on maps like Haven, teams don't really smoke Heaven. Sometimes on A site, they'll just molly it off or something, or they'll just know that somebody's there. They'll put like an Asher suck or a stun or something, right? So the teams can't run out. So that's just something to keep in mind. And two, you can't do it during the buy phase. You can't just default it every round, right? You have to physically go into garage, put the wall down, and then yeah, the teams could play around there to punish you for it somehow or that type of thing. Now, the other wall, this also has its pros and cons. So I'm going to put this one up. Back up real quick. This one, like I said, gives you less room to go into, so it's like a tighter corridor that you could get into. But two, it allows, oh yeah, if your team wants to hold flank, let's say for example you're trying to hold flank for your team as they're executing on the site, the only really safe spot to do it is from all the way back here, where you're not really up close to help your team, right? You have to play all the way back here and sort of just hold all the way back here, right? And you're just kind of isolated from the rest of your team. So if they get overwhelmed or something, or if they need your mollies or something, or any piece of your utility, you're not there for them. But this wall does cover nest very well, actually. You actually can't see anything past this wall. Like some walls have gaps and whatnot. This is actually a perfect wall, so they can't see past it, right? But like I said, enemies could see into like B main. They have more breathing room. They don't feel as threatened by this wall. But like I said, it's a lot safer for your team. Nest is covered, and you could do it during the buy phase, right? So you could default this every round. I showed you what they both look like. I showed you what they both show, what they don't show. And I think the only thing I didn't show was back here. In sight, as you can see, both walls cover about the same amount of distance. They both make it so you can't see past them. But I'm just going to show you this other one real quick. So if you throw it like this, I'm just going to show you, it covers all the way to Snowman, covers all this, covers backside. So yeah, just trying to show you every angles, what the wall covers and what it doesn't cover. So I showed you what both walls look like, what the lineups are and whatnot. And I linked you to the other video so if you want to see that one in action. But now I'm going to show you really briefly what this new wall looks like when it's being used. Let's jump to that example now. All right, so I'm taking us over to a series between Xerxia Esports and KRU, right? And I mentioned how this Viper wall is, really insane. So you're going to see that at KRU this round are going to do some form of a fake. They have a KO knife lineup that lands yellow, an arrow that lands on top crane, I guess, and this Viper wall, right? Now, this Viper wall pushes them so far back that, yeah, they're stacked up here, but it also plants the stack here as well, right? So I'm going to wind this a second. Xerxia Esports, they started off in a B stack. Maybe they had a read or they had some anti-strat or something, right? But KRU did a really good job of selling this. They have a really good Sova arrow, they have a really good KO knife, and this Viper wall, like I mentioned, applies so much pressure that it's able to, it wouldn't just draw rotates, but it also, since they're stacked, it keeps the stack planted there. So they're able to go up A site, you know, for free. And then since we're here, I might as well break down the rest of the round. So like I said, KRU are running up A now, running into Killjoy, who has 2 mollies on both plant spots, one up top and one toward the side. This molly could be a good read or anti-shred again from Xerxia. Maybe they know that KRU likes to plant there. But they have full site control. Wall goes up for screens, so is spamming top nest in case they're planting up there. Again, it's kind of hard to hear too with the land sounds I heard. It's kind of hard to hear exactly where teams are planting and hard to hear certain things. But with this wall, they have now full site control and they can play some pretty dirty crossfires. Now, it's up to Xerxia to try and retake. And it looks like all 5 of them are going to come out Raptor, which is pretty bold. Don't know if this exactly is the right play. Again, this map is similar to Ascent, to where you don't just want to retake all from heaven, you want to be retaking from tree as well, so that you're pinching from 2 different angles, right? So when you're fighting these guys who are under Raptor or like maze or whatever, you're fighting them from 2 different angles, right? So you're fighting them from upper and you're fighting them from lower. This retake was a little scuffed, I'm not gonna lie. Don't really know if that was the best way to retake. I think they needed to take the time to break that sage wall. I mean, they had the time, they should have broken it. Again, I couldn't find a crazy example like I did in on that last wall video, but I still think this is good enough, right? Granted, they did stack there, but I think if they didn't stack, this wall and fake that they pulled off with the wall plus the util, I think it would have drawn over some rotates, and I think I honestly think the same thing would have happened. The same result would have happened. So that being said, you can go ahead and use these Viper walls in your gameplay, in your ranked games, in your team play. Switch them up. You know, you can do a close wall 1 round, then maybe a wide wall 1 round, right? Just keep the enemy on their toes. You now have lineups for both. So hop into a custom game, practice these, and yeah, they're fun. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. I know I did. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.